So feedback is everywhere because you have to understand that feedback entails a reaction. I wanted first to look at the definition of feedback because sometimes we think of feedback in different ways. Because when feedback comes, there is a certain angle to everyone about how you're getting that feedback. It doesn't matter if it's political or non political, if it's personal or business, at work, it doesn't matter what it is. We need to classify or to clarify what that means. The best definition of feedback. Feedback is information about the gap between the actual level and the reference level of a system parameter, which is used to alter the gap in some way. Already reading this, I like the way this scholar is putting it because for me, I am understanding that I understood feedback all along, even though I've used it to my benefit. Half the time it goes the wrong way because the first instance on feedback is the emotional response for me. We are all human, and I believe if I told you something you don't like, you will respond in a certain way and you get attached emotionally to it. So that is the first thing I think you should realize, that when you get feedback, you will become emotional about it. And then the next thing I always try to do is the judging part. So that's the second thing. Do I judge the person who has said this to me? Do I trust the person who is saying something bad about me, about my blog, about my life, my character? You might argue with me on that, but I believe this interconnectedness of how you perceive, because the tone of the person talking to you, how they articulate whatever it is, and the reason they are saying that, which is already my third part, to analyze what the person or the entity giving you feedback is trying to say. It could be an idea that when I was driving, I was thinking I'm doing it properly, but my driving lessons teacher was like, "Oh the hell, that's not how you drive." Do you know how many times you are on the road and you see someone drive horribly and you judge them or you shout at them, you tell them whatever, because they are driving not in the normal way? So again, you have to have this introspective way of looking at yourself when you get feedback. And then you have to look at your response, and your response should remove all judgments in order for you to go into the next phase where you have to evaluate. Feedback is not merely just feedback, which is the fourth thing for me, because some people could just be criticizing for merely criticizing you. So therefore, you have to go deeper into disseminating what is proper feedback and what is pure judgmental criticism about you or your work. By doing that, quickly you can react better. And that reaction now of where you want to go is the most important part. After all the judging is gone, after all the evaluation is gone, after all the dissemination is gone, what I want you to understand is that you go in another mode where you can say what your reaction should be. So your reaction to all this should be based on those first items I was talking about. Because I believe that if you are not consciously understanding what is happening within yourself, you will react very badly and it will end in a bad way. You can now take responsibility to analyze that part where I was talking about the definition, saying it is the gap. In my life, I have used this reference of where someone thought I would be to upgrade my skill levels. My skill levels went up only because I used to be able to consciously listen to whoever is talking and try to understand how can I improve my life or my skill or something that I do. This has propelled my skills very, very well in my life. Here I'm already going into the positive attitude of trying to say, okay, what I received is something that can help me? How can I use it for my benefit? The benefit of understanding feedback about from the way that someone is giving it to you is to utilize it for your benefit to propel. So you have now to go back. The first thing you must do is always thank them. Why I'm saying thanking them? Because one of the most important things I have seen and I've heard people say about me is that you are hard. People criticize you, but you don't take it and you're smiling. What I'm looking at is what did the person say, and I'm looking towards the goal. Again, that reference of understanding where I wanted to go, understanding where the team wanted to go is what I'm looking at. And if I'm understanding there's something I did wrong or there's something the team did wrong, I am looking at other alternatives that we can do or that I can do that can make me reach that goal. So be grateful for having that honest feedback. If someone is just being perfect and obnoxious and just telling you how something should be done because they like doing it, and you evaluate it properly and understand it, then your reactions can have the same impact. Trying to find an understanding. They might not like it. It might not be directly. It could be after the meeting. You can take them aside and say, I understood what you were saying. Thank you for telling me that. I'm going to improve or something. It might be that I'm being too positive about it because constantly people who I talk with are saying, but it appears that you receive everything with a positive attitude or something like that. I don't know how to call it, but I believe in life we do not have to have those constraints about what people are saying and just keep judging it. We have to understand that I have to accept you for who you are, and I have to be responsible for the things I do to take any feedback and turn it into a positive way. Please comment below and tell me, how do you react to feedback? Do you think it is criticism? Do you think it's something that is helping you? Do you think there is actually a gap? You are being given the information to fill in that gap between the actual and the reference of what it should be? Thank you very much. Goodbye.